Welcome back to Ferocious Education. Zep. Today I'm going to be talking about IPOC, one of the tickers for Social Capital Hedosophia Holdings. This is the third kind of ticker they have. They also have IPO A, B, D, and E, but I'm going to focus on this one here because it operates differently. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. And at any point of the video, if you feel you're missing on the technical analysis I'm going through, you'll find in the description below video or a playlist to technical indicators and what mean. Let's jump right into it. So before jumping to news, let's jump into technical analysis. And what we get to see here on a 1 month, 1 day perspective is that it did attempt to see a negative reversal on the 25th of September and then jumped up all the way until the 5th of October and then gapped down. The gap down heavy. Now, right now what we're seeing is that MACD has curved and gone towards negative. Not yet curling up. So what you want to see is a curl up here towards the positive. And that usually gives you an indication that we might actually see a positive reversal. Moving averages, 10 SMA is above 30 SMA, that is bullish. Now the 50 SMA here is a concern because it's under the 50 SMA, usually above the 50 SMA bullish, below the 50 SMA bearish. So right now, it's looking quite bearish. ADX shows in that there is a strong negative trend here. William %R though, has been oversold for a few days. Right now, still oversold, but it's actually climbing back up to neutral. Momentum here looks quite alright. It looks like it's actually recovering up. And what we get to see, unbalanced volume. It looks like it actually dipped quite below. I mean, we were having 22 million, and all of a sudden we're having, I believe, negative 40 million. Sorry, negative 30 million. So that is quite interesting to see as well. Taking a quick look into the 1 hour perspective, this is just merely for the next few hours. Really, it's just playing sloppy, nothing significant. On every single indication just shows sloppy. Moving averages, bearish / sloppy, ADX sloppy with a chance of a trend forming. William %R oversold, momentum sloppy, MACD sloppy. Now let's take a quick look into different things like the moving averages. We get to see on the moving average, you get to see that unbalanced volume I was talking about where it kind of like just nosedive down. On the bottom, we're looking at 1082. In the middle, we're looking at 1199. And on the top, we're looking at 1321. Now, if we were to look at charts, we get to see on the Fibonacci retracement, there is a support at the 1054. Another is a resistance at 1084, 1108, and 1132. Now, coming in towards the significant supports and resistances, what we get to see is a very significant support is at the level of the 1058, and then below that 1050. Below that we're looking at 1034, and the one that is most important, that if I was to set a stop limit I would put it underneath here, is the 1030. And something related to this where there's high volatility, a stop limit is a little bit of a double-edged sword because it can dip for 2 minutes and bounce right back and rally, or it can just dip right on and continue dipping with the stop limit rate, especially that the bottom is technically 1030. Below that you're looking at 1007, but that is where the IPO started. Now on resistances, we get to see a resistance currently sitting at this level, 1067, and then above there we're looking at say 1085, above there 1095, and then above there 1115, 1136, and then we jump all the way to a really strong resistance at the 1150. Now let's take a quick look into news, and this one is going to be a little bit news heavy, and that's where the majority of the video is going to be on. Since they don't have a full website, I'll show you their website. I'm going to mainly go through the SEC filings. So the big news is it relates to Cover Health. So before going there, let's take a look into institutional buyers. It looks like institution is very bullish onto this one. I mean, we're looking more of additions, except with FNY investment advisors that have decreased their shares, probably because of the drop. What we get to see is mainly funds and investor funds have been added onto this. No insider purchases, but I'll explain that a little. Just because the owners themselves, for instance, they have around 10% here. ION has 10%, SCH has 10%, so they already have in the formation of this IPO. It's a little bit too new to create insider purchases. Now, coming in towards here, there is a lot of interest into this one here, and I'm gonna read just a bit of parts here and bits and here and there, kind of explain where I'm coming with this one. So the first thing is that with Clover Insurance Company. It's mainly seen as a tech company rather than insurance. The deal includes up to $1.2 billion in cash proceeds, 400 million of which will be through a private investment in a public entity or PIPE, led by Mr. Hapitia. That's a little bit harder name to actually pronounce, but he's the billionaire former Facebook executive that turned tech investor. So I'm going to go into basically leading towards some of the highlights into coming in towards the transcript and presentations, and then we're going to go towards describing a bit more about the company. So the State of the Union Healthcare, that kind of has a little bit of different presentations adding in towards an indication to why this merger is pretty good. In the last 50 years, we've increased per capita healthcare spending 31 times. In 2019, Americans spent $3.65 trillion on healthcare. Life expectancy is shrinking to around 78.6 years. Chronic diseases is rising. 28% of all Americans and have at least 2+ diseases. Now, United Healthcare, which is considered to be this one's competitor in a sense, has had returns in the last decades of around 5.5 times, which is a lot more than the SAP. Well, SAP is an index. That's what we're comparing it to. Google, Facebook, and etc. Clover Health. So it's a simple, obvious healthcare plans for consumers. Powerful software that helps doctors deliver better healthcare, deliver better outcomes at lower cost. Clover members see 22% fewer hospital visits and 23 ER visits. Fewer ER visits. Clover Healthcare initial market. It plans for people around 65 and older. Population of 65 plus will double in the next 40 years, growing 5 times faster than any other population group. Boomers. Broad political support from Democrats and Republicans. Now, it goes on towards other ones in terms of margin of safety. So $270 billion market growing to $590 billion by 2025. So it is a growing market. Every day, 10,000 plus people turn 65 and become eligible. Market is growing by $1 billion of new revenue each week. Being technology first versus competitors is cheaper and easier to scale. So Clover is proven and growing fast, growing 2 to 3 times faster than next 9 competitors. 50% take rate versus legacy incumbents. 2019 A is $457 million in revenue. In 2023 is estimated or forecasted to be around 1.723 billion revenues. And we're going on towards the Ferocious cycle. We get to see a little bit of capture and synthesized data, apply for machine learning to provide data-driven, personalized insights at the point of care via Clover Assistant, improves clinical decision-making to drive better care, share superior economics with members via lower costs and better benefits, and drive a strong market-leading organic member growth. So the investment thesis goes on about Medicare is going to be a $1.25 trillion market by 2025, and they're growing fast and disrupting incumbent early markets already at 25% share. So the enterprise is valued around $3.702 billion, which is estimated to have doubled the revenue in 2023 estimate, and it upsides off more than 10 times the current valuation in 10 years. So that kind of gives you a bit of more around the presentation part. And this is a really nice transcript that I actually read. This one goes on, submitted to file form 425 on the 7th of October. And it says, this is one of the most interesting thing. I mean, the transcript itself is very interesting to read. I spent around 30 minutes or so reading it. Definitely I recommend reading it. Typically, we are 15% off every dollar invested. And that's the reason we think it's important to be meaningfully at risk. I think it creates better diligence. It does create better disclosure. In fact, when you look at the S4s that we file when we merge with businesses, there are enormous amount of details, and it creates the right alignment. There's no way that I can win unless the stock goes up. And so what they're talking about here is, as the company SPAC of IPO, A, B, C, E, D, and all that stuff, they are actually putting in a lot of their own money into the line. And so in a way, they're not actually even taking profits percentage. They're actually having it, investing it as themselves as owners. And believe they were saying around for every dollar it's 15% that they put in. So when you're investing with them, you're literally investing with these billionaires money. So that's where the smart money perhaps is going. So when you go as well to going on towards what Clover has said, Clover has become one of the fastest growing Medicare Advantage providers in the United States with more than 57,000 members. Our market share continues to grow each year. Now, another thing going on as well is the agreements and going into great details as well with the transcripts, with the presentation. I'm gonna show you this person as well video. So basically, Clover CEO Vivek Garpila and President Andrew Toy. This is a transcript from the form that they've actually put up. I'll show you in their Twitter, on his Twitter. It's on there as well, and it basically announces the IPO C acquisition of Clover Health, and that is yet to kind of go through and fully complete. But the merger itself, the agreement has closed. And it says here, on October 5th, 2020, they entered into an agreement and plan to merger with basically a Delaware corporation and a directly wholly owned by SCH. So it's not fully closed. When it's closed, what you're going to have is its own ticker. But I mean, the actual agreement is going through. Now, going on towards their website, this is the website for Social Capital Hedosophia Holdings, and you get to see they have A, B, C, D, and all that stuff. So if we go on to C, you get to see a little bit of regarding, well, nothing really other than the warrants, which warrants they have, and shares. Clover Health Medicare, I'm going to be sharing their website in the description as well if you would like to watch it. It mainly goes on towards members of 65 years and older, actually only 65 years and older, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an indication to what they're doing. Mainly, they're a technology company diversifying into insurance and health, and not the other way around. So they're trying to use technology a lot into their advantage. So that is a cool concept there. SBC have been very hot recently. So this is the CEO of Social Capital, and that's the one we're looking at here. So I'm very bad at pronouncing names. So Chamath, I hope that's right. And you get to go on and this at Chamath, CHAMATH. You get to see some of the documents they have, such as the merging with Clover Health. I definitely recommend giving him a follow if you're interested in IPO, C, or any of the SCH holdings. So that is quite interesting as well, and it gives you basically the quantitative estimates in terms of revenue. And from the transcript, what I read is, yes, they're actually making a loss at the right time being, but he sees that it's going to actually, well, he says that it's going to be more of a break even at this level, very close to break even, and that they're going to actually be anticipating growth towards profitability by 2023. So that is amazing news. And if you're on Twitter, make sure you follow me on there. Now let's jump into what I think about the stock and the movement. So company sounds like it has an amazing concept. The owners of this one here are putting their own money on it. So when they're putting their own money, you're wondering, well, why would you be interested in investing in this SBSC other than a different one? And the answer is that, well, they're putting their own money, right? They're betting their own money on it. And 15% for every dollar is quite significant. You're talking about billionaires, so that's hundreds of millions of dollars that they're putting in. Now comes in towards the price action. What happened? Now, big thing about this one is buy the rumor, sell the news. Even though it looks like perhaps they did an offering or something, and that's not the case. Now, what you can get to see is a resemblance of where it accumulated around that price previously. So it kind of feels comfortable that 1030 is probably the bottom, and now it kind of got rejected and is bouncing back. But I do need a confirmation. So what I'm looking at in order to invest in this one is something you call a bullish kicker. And usually when you have red, you get one bullish kicker, and that's kind of an indication of a trend. Now, what you can have is a false bullish kicker, but you get to see that it's actually accumulating in this. I haven't lost much. Another one is a bullish kicker here. I mean, usually you get green, a little bit of green by the time you hit a bullish kicker. That is important for me. The next thing I want to do is I want to be very much attentive to when is that date, right? When is voting's coming in? So you do expect that this one is probably going to revive back ahead, but it's going to give a little bit of an indication to a little bit of nervous buyers. When they don't see a straight on catalyst, they start running away. And that is not the way that you want to play this one. You want to consider, are you investing or are you trading? If you're investing, this one looks solid. If you're trading, you need a bullish kicker. If you want to hold it for a couple of weeks or so, you need to start seeing an indication that it's actually following through. And one of the indications that you can kind of see that it's actually tending to reverse is the MACD here. That's a really good tool. I don't use it just extensively, but you want to see above the 50 SMA and MACD curling up on this one, and volume is increasing. Now the indication is that the volume increased from Thursday to Friday, showing a bit more interest towards this company. But unbalanced volume needs to recover just a little for me to give an indication that inflow is actually more than outflow, and so buyers are the ones that are in higher demand, are in higher numbers than sellers, and so demand, basically demand and the price kind of goes up because the demand is higher. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Subscribe and like. You have a wonderful day.